The rain-slicked streets of Seattle gleamed under the sodium lamps like veins pulsing with the city's hidden heartaches. But inside Alex Harper's cramped apartment, the world had narrowed to the cold bite of steel against his skin. His fingers, slick with sweat and tears, hovered over the 911 keys on his phone, each digit a thunderclap in the silence of his unraveling life. "Please," he choked out as the call connected. "I need help. I think I'm going to." But the voice that cut through the static wasn't anonymous. It was warm, familiar, a lifeline from a decade ago that yanked him back from the edge with brutal recognition. "Alex? Is that you, kid?" Jordan Reyes gripped the dispatch console tighter than necessary, the fluorescent hum of the 911 center fading into white noise as that voice, timid, broken, but unmistakably his, slammed into him like a freight train. 10 years. A lifetime in dispatch years. But Jordan's mind reeled back to the summer of 2015, when a scrawny 12-year-old with freckles and a backpack full of secrets had stumbled into his life at the community center's LGBTQ+ youth group. Alex, the boy who'd trusted him with whispers of confusion and fear, the one Jordan had mentored through coming-out nightmares and playground cruelties. Now, here he was, 17 and drowning, and Jordan's heart jackknifed. "Stay with me, Alex," he said, voice steady despite the storm inside. Dispatching units even as memories flooded. Alex's first awkward hug. The way he'd light up over shared sketches of fantastical worlds where love didn't come with fists or slurs. "Tell me where you are. You're not alone. Not anymore." Alex's vision blurred, the knife slipping from numb fingers to clatter on the linoleum, his body folding against the fridge like a discarded puppet. The apartment smelled of stale takeout and the faint, acrid tang of his own despair. Posters of indie bands peeling from walls that had once echoed with laughter from friends who'd long since ghosted him. "I'm at 1423 Elmwood, second floor," he managed, the address tumbling out like a confession. "It's just, everything's falling apart. Dad found out, about me, about Jamie. He said I'm not his son anymore." The words cracked open wounds fresh as the rain outside. Jamie's face flashing in his mind. That crooked smile during their stolen kisses behind the high school bleachers. The way his hand had felt like home until the rumors started, twisting their secret into schoolyard venom. Jordan's silence on the line was a tether, pulling Alex from the abyss, but it carried its own weight. A history unspoken. A bond Jordan had buried under layers of regret when he'd left the youth group to chase a badge and a uniform, abandoning the kids who'd needed him most. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder like an approaching judgment, and Jordan fought the urge to bolt from his chair, to drive there himself. Protocol be damned. This wasn't just a call. It was redemption knocking, or maybe reckoning. "Officers are en route. ETA 3 minutes. Breathe with me, Alex. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Remember that breathing trick I taught you? For the panic attacks." Alex did, the rhythm syncing with Jordan's calm baritone, an echo from afternoons spent doodling superheroes who fought inner demons instead of villains. But as the pieces clicked, Jordan, the mentor who'd vanished without a goodbye, now his unwitting savior. Resentment flickered amid the gratitude. Why now? Why him? The apartment door rattled under pounding fists, paramedics spilling in with stretchers and questions, but Alex's eyes stayed glued to the phone, as if severing the call would sever the fragile thread holding him together. In the sterile glow of Harborview Medical Center's ER, Alex lay under crisp sheets that smelled of bleach and false promises, and dripping sedation into his veins like liquid forgetfulness. The doctor, a kind-eyed woman with a clipboard and a rainbow pin on her lapel, murmured about therapy referrals and support groups, but her words blurred into the beeping monitors. Jordan had hung up once the team arrived, promising to check in, but his number lingered in Alex's call log like a scar, untraceable through official channels, a ghost number for a ghost from the past. Sleep tugged at him, heavy and merciful, but not before Jamie's text lit up his screen. "We need to talk. It's over." The betrayal stung sharper than the needle. Their 2 months of whispered, "I love yous" crumbling under the weight of small-town gossip in Seattle's sprawling suburbs, where being gay meant navigating minefields of judgmental stares and whispered fags in the hallways of Roosevelt High. Morning light filtered through half-drawn blinds, casting striped shadows across Alex's face as a social worker named Lena pulled up a chair, her notebook balanced on her knee like a shield. "Tell me about last night," she said softly, her voice a gentle probe into the chaos. Alex hesitated, the story spilling in fits. The fight with his dad, a burly mechanic whose Bible-thumping rants had escalated from disapproval to disownment when he'd found Alex's hidden journal, pages filled with sketches of Jamie intertwined with declarations of love. "He threw my stuff out, called me an abomination. I couldn't see a way out." Lena nodded, no judgment in her eyes, jotting notes about family intervention and queer youth resources. But beneath her professional calm, she saw the layers, the isolation, the flicker of hope in mentioning Jordan. "That dispatcher, he knew you? That's a sign, Alex. Connections like that don't happen by accident." Across town, in the bowels of the King County Sheriff's dispatch hub, Jordan nursed a lukewarm coffee, staring at the overnight logs as if they held answers. His shift had ended at dawn, but sleep was a fugitive. Alex's voice looped in his head, a haunting remix of the boy he'd failed. Back then, Jordan had been 22, fresh out of community college, volunteering at the center to give back after his own rocky coming out in a conservative Latino family. Alex had been his quiet success story, the kid who'd gone from hiding bruises from bullies to blooming in art therapy sessions, painting murals of defiant rainbows over stormy skies. But life had pulled Jordan away. A promotion to dispatch, the grind of night shifts, a fleeting relationship that crashed like most of his attempts at normalcy. He'd meant to stay in touch, but time eroded intentions, leaving guilt as the only souvenir. Now, with Alex teetering on the brink, Jordan pulled strings he shouldn't, requesting a welfare check follow-up, his fingers itching to call, to explain the silence of years. Alex's discharge came swift, a nod to his age and the lack of immediate threat, but the real discharge was from the hospital's sliding doors into a world that felt alien. His dad hadn't shown. No calls, no texts, just an empty voicemail promising space to think. Backpack slung over one shoulder, Alex trudged to the bus stop, the damp Seattle air clinging like regret. Jamie's talk had been a sidewalk ambush outside the coffee shop they'd claimed as theirs. "I can't handle the stairs, Alex. My folks found out and it's too much." The breakup had been clinical, Jamie's eyes avoiding his, leaving Alex hollowed out, questioning every touch, every promise. But as the bus rumbled toward home, or what was left of it, his phone buzzed with an unknown number. "Hey, kid. It's Jordan. Got your info from the report. Coffee. My treat. We need to unpack this." The cafe on Capitol Hill buzzed with the midday crowd, baristas calling orders, laughter from tables of friends unscarred by secrets. But Alex felt exposed, like a raw nerve under fluorescent lights. Jordan arrived 5 minutes late, wind-ruffled hair and a dispatcher's rumpled polo, his smile tentative as he slid into the booth. Up close, he was broader than memory, laugh lines etching kindness around eyes the color of aged whiskey. But the hug he offered was the same, firm, grounding, like an anchor in choppy waters. "God, you've grown," Jordan said, voice thick, signaling the barista for 2 lattes. Alex managed a nod, stirring sugar into his cup to avoid the weight of those eyes. "You recognized me. Just like that." Jordan leaned back, exhaling. "Your voice. It's got that same lilt, like you're reading poetry even when you're scared. Plus, Harper's not common around here." The small talk skirted the edges, school, art classes Alex still took, Jordan's quiet life in a studio apartment stacked with mystery novels. But the undercurrent pulled strong, questions bubbling like the foam on their drinks. "Why'd you disappear?" Alex blurted, the hurt spilling unbidden, raw as the night before. Jordan's face fell, cup pausing midair. "I screwed up, Alex. Bad. The center was my lifeline, but dispatch. It swallowed me. Long hours, burnout. I told myself I'd circle back, but months turned to years. I'm sorry, that's on me." The admission hung, heavy with unspoken pain, and Alex saw it then. The cracks in Jordan's armor, the way his fingers drummed the table like he was dispatching ghosts of his own. "Last night, hearing you, it was like fate slapping me awake. Your family, kid. Always were." The word family landed soft, mending a frayed edge in Alex's chest, but it stirred something deeper, a warmth that blurred lines, admiration twisting toward confusion in the wake of Jamie's rejection. Weeks blurred into a fragile routine, Jordan inserting himself like a steady pulse. Texts checking in after school, drives to art supply stores where they'd debate brush techniques over falafel wraps. Alex's dad remained a shadow, door locked when he came home, meals eaten in silence broken only by the TV's drone of football games laced with veiled barbs. "You're seeing that queer again?" He'd grunt once, spotting a text from Jordan, but Alex held his ground, chin lifted in quiet defiance. At school, the whispers had evolved. From cruel jabs to wary curiosity, classmates like Mia, the theater kid with purple hair and a bi-flag pin, extending olive branches. "Heard about the thing with Jamie. Want a vent at rehearsal? We need a set designer." It was a lifeline, pulling Alex into spotlights and scripts where identities weren't punchlines, but plot points. But tension simmered beneath the calm. Jordan's check-ins grew longer, coffee turning to dinners at hole-in-the-wall tie spots, conversations delving into scars. Jordan's ex, a cop who'd bailed when family pressure mounted, leaving him to question if love was just another dispatch call waiting to drop. "I thought I was over it," Jordan admitted one evening, rain pattering the diner window like impatient fingers. "But you remind me why I fight, Alex. That fire in you." Alex flushed, the compliment landing like sunlight on frost, stirring flutters he chalked up to gratitude. Yet in quiet moments, sketching Jordan's profile from memory, lines sharp with unspoken longing, doubt crept in. Was this mentorship or something riskier? The age gap yawned. 13 years, but in the queer world, lines blurred, hearts didn't count calendars. The first crack came at a pride event Jordan dragged him to, Capitol Hill alive with floats and flags, bass thumping from drag queen MCs. Alex, decked in a thrifted vest painted with swirling galaxies, felt alive amid the sea of colors, hands linking with strangers in chants of solidarity. Jordan watched from the sidelines, pride pin glinting on his jacket, but his smile held shadows. "This was us back then. Remember the mini pride at the center?" Alex nodded, the memory bittersweet, but as the crowd surged, a chant turned chant. No justice, no peace. Protests had spiked that summer, anti-LGBTQ plus bills snaking through Olympia, and suddenly, the joy fractured. A counter-protester shoved through, sign reading "God hates fags," spitting vitriol at a nearby couple. Alex froze, heart hammering, but Jordan stepped forward, voice cutting calm. "Back off, sir. This is a celebration, not a battlefield." The man lunged, fist connecting with Jordan's jaw in a sickening crack, and chaos erupted. Cops swarming, Alex pulling Jordan back as blood trickled from a split lip. In the aftermath, patched up in an aid tent, Jordan waved off concern with a bruised grin. Occupational hazard. Dispatchers see worse. But Alex saw the tremor in his hands, the way he deflected with jokes. That night, over ice packs in Jordan's apartment, a cozy nest of bookshelves and succulents, the walls came down. "I left the center because I was scared," Jordan confessed, voice raw. "Scared of caring too much, of losing another kid to the hate. My little brother. He took his life, Alex. Bullied for being trans. I couldn't save him, so I ran to a job where I could save strangers." The revelation hit like a wave, Alex's arms wrapping around him in instinct, holding tight as sobs shook them both. In that embrace, boundaries blurred further, comfort teetering on the edge of confession. Fall leaves crunched underfoot as Alex navigated the minefield of senior year, portfolio in hand for college apps, dreams of RSD flickering amid the fog of family fracture. His dad had thawed slightly, a grunted past the salt, at dinner evolving to awkward questions about "that friend of yours." But trust was a shattered vase, pieces sharp. Jamie, meanwhile, lurked like a specter, sliding into DMs with apologies. "I miss you. Can we try?" Alex deleted them, but the pull lingered, a reminder of easy love before the storm. Jordan became his compass, weekends spent hiking Discovery Park, trails winding through evergreens where they'd unpack the weight. Jordan's fear of vulnerability, Alex's terror of abandonment. "You're not your dad," Jordan said once, as they overlooked Puget Sound, waves crashing like unresolved chords. You're the artist who sees beauty in broken things. That's power. Yet power has its price. At a youth art show, Alex's piece, a mixed media collage of fractured mirrors reflecting rainbow shards, drew gasps and a blue ribbon, but also a confrontation. Jamie showed up, eyes pleading, cornering him in the gallery's dim corner. I was wrong. The rumors. They got to me, but I love you. The words ignited old sparks, Alex's resolve crumbling under the familiar tilt of Jamie's head, leading to a tentative kiss behind the velvet ropes, sweet, urgent, a reclaiming. Guilt followed like a shadow, texts to Jordan evasive, busy with show stuff. But secrets fester, and when Jordan spotted them at a cafe, Jamie's hand on Alex's knee, the air thickened with unspoken hurt. Jordan pulled back, texts curt, shifts swallowing him whole. Alex chased, showing up at the dispatch center with takeout and apologies, but the door stayed metaphorically shut. You're a kid, Alex, Jordan said finally, over a park bench at dusk, voice strained. I'm your mentor, not this. The this hung, charged with what they'd both felt, a pull beyond friendship, deep and dangerous, twisted by history and heartbreak. Alex recoiled, tears hot. You think I don't know that? But you made me feel seen, really seen. And now you're bailing again. The accusation landed, Jordan's face crumpling, the chasm widening as winter winds howled. The holiday lights twinkled mockingly as Alex spiraled, Jamie's renewed romance a bandage over a bullet wound. Kisses frantic but hollow, fights flaring over insecurities. You still hung up on that old guy? Jamie snapped during one row, jealousy poisoning the air. Alex stormed out, wandering snow-dusted streets until his phone rang. Not Jamie, but his dad, voice cracking. Son, I found your journal again. Read it all. I'm sorry. Can we talk? The olive branch trembled, Alex arriving home to a living room stripped of sermons, his dad perched on the couch with tea steaming. I was scared of losing you to a world I don't understand. But you're my boy. Always. Tears flowed, hugs awkward but real, the first step on a bridge rebuilt plank by plank. But bridges burn easy. New Year's Eve brought the inferno. A party at Mia's, bass thumping, confetti swirling, Alex and Jamie tangled in a corner when Jordan walked in, invited by Mia, oblivious to the minefield. Eyes met across the room, a spark of pain and possession, and later, on the balcony, words exploded. You moved on. Good for you. Jordan bit out, breath fogging the chill air. Alex whirled. It's not moving on, it's surviving. You pushed me away. Jamie interrupted, pulling Alex inside. But the seed was planted, doubt rooting deep. Days later, Jamie confessed, I saw you with him at the park. Who's the real one? Trust fractured. Their goodbye a quiet unraveling in a coffee shop, Jamie's hand lingering before letting go. Find what you need, Alex. Just be happy. Spring thawed the ice, Alex throwing himself into art. Canvases exploding with turmoil, portraits of Jordan's shadowed eyes, abstracts of his dad's tentative smiles. Therapy with Lena unpacked the layers, the mentor crush as projection of unmet needs, the family rift as a call to self-forgiveness. Jordan, too, sought counsel, a therapist probing the brother-shaped hole, the fear of loving without losing. Their paths crossed at the center, Jordan volunteering again, Alex facilitating art sessions, and the air hummed with cautious renewal. No grand gestures, just shared glances over clay-smeared tables, laughter bubbling as kids echoed their younger selves. Climax brewed in summer's heat, a rally against a proposed "Don't Say Gay" echo bill in Washington, crowds swelling Seattle streets. Alex, megaphone in hand, channeled fury into chants, Jordan at his side, badges flashing solidarity. But violence erupted, hecklers charging, bottles flying, and in the melee, Alex took a blow, crumpling as panic clawed his throat. Jordan's arms caught him, voice a roar over the din. I've got you, always. Medics swarmed, but in the blur, Alex whispered, don't leave this time. Jordan's nod was vow, tears mixing with sweat. Recovery was slow, hospital visits weaving tighter bonds. Jamie's final farewell text a gentle closure, his dad's daily soups a quiet atonement. Jordan stayed, reading aloud from dog-eared comics, fingers brushing in accidental intimacies that spoke volumes. This, us, it's not about labels, Jordan said one afternoon, sunlight slanting gold. It's about showing up. For you, I dispatch the stars. Alex smiled, heart full, the twist revealing not romance's blaze but friendship's enduring fire. Deep, unyielding, a love that defied definitions. As autumn painted the city anew, Alex stood at Riz's orientation, sketchbook under arm, Jordan's parting gift, a leather-bound journal inscribed to the kid who saved me back. The call that started it all had been the hook, but the story? It was theirs, woven from misunderstandings mended, prejudices pierced, a testament that in the queer tapestry of America, voices recognized in the dark could light the way home. The acceptance letter from RSD had arrived like a thunderclap, crisp envelopes slicing through the monotony of Alex's summer job at the local bookstore, where he shelved queer lit between fantasy tomes that mirrored his own escapist dreams. You're going, right? Mia had texted, her enthusiasm a barrage of emojis, but Alex's reply stalled, thumb hovering over the screen as doubt gnawed. Leaving Seattle meant leaving Jordan's steady presence, his dad's fragile peace, the center's kids who'd started calling him Big Bro with paint-flecked grins. Yet staying felt like stagnation, a loop of half-healed wounds. He paced the apartment, now less prison and more sanctuary, his dad tinkering in the kitchen with a recipe from some online ally cooking video, burnt edges and all, but the effort shone. Jordan sensed the turmoil without words, showing up unannounced with falafel and a map of Providence, Rhode Island, marked with dive bars and art haunts. East Coast, huh? You'll conquer it, he said, unrolling the map across the coffee table like a battle plan. But his eyes held questions, the kind that lingered from their rally scuffle, the way Alex had leaned into him amid the chaos, bodies pressed in survival's grip. They talked late, windows open to cricket choruses, Jordan sharing tales of his own college flirtations with theater majors who quoted Whitman over cheap beer. Love's a wild thing, Alex. Doesn't follow scripts. The words landed soft, but Alex heard the subtext, his pulse quickening with echoes of what-ifs. Was it mentorship's warmth, or the spark of something more? He pushed it down, focusing on packing lists, but the journal Jordan had given burned in his bag, pages waiting for truths yet unnamed. Dad's goodbye at the airport was a study in restraint, a bear hug that smelled of motor oil and mint gum. Words mumbled. Proud of you, son. Call if you need. No sermons, just a rainbow keychain slipped into Alex's palm, bought on impulse from a Pride shop. The flight east was a blur of clouds and playlists, landing in Providence's crisp autumn air that nipped like promise. Campus thrummed with creative chaos, students lugging easels, graffiti blooming on brick walls, and Alex's dorm room became a nest of posters, Seattle skylines bleeding into abstract hearts. Jamie's face faded to memory. His roommate, Theo, was a wiry sculptor from Brooklyn with a non-binary flag draped over his bed, their first night unpacking dissolving into stories of chosen families and crushes gone awry. Classes ignited him, figure drawing where bodies twisted in vulnerable grace, color theory exploding in riots of emotion. But homesickness crept in whispers, nights scrolling Jordan's texts, Dad's weekly voicemails about that new transmission as code for I miss you. A care package arrived midterms. Jordan scrawled note on sketchpads, draw the storms, kid. They'll pass. Alex did, charcoal smudging pages with tempests that mirrored his inner churn. The pull between roots and wings, the ache for connection that Jamie's ghost had left raw. Theo noticed, dragging him to a queer open mic where poets spilled guts over guitar strums. There, Alex read a piece about voices in the dark, the crowd snap applause a bomb, but his mind wandered to Jordan's baritone, steady as dispatch codes. Thanksgiving loomed, flights booked home, but a curveball landed. Theo's invite to his family's Seder in New York, a queer inclusive twist on tradition. Come, my aunt's a rabbi who officiates drag weddings. Alex wavered, the allure of escape clashing with Seattle's siren call. He called Jordan, connection crackling across miles. Go, Jordan urged, voice warm through static. Build your world, Alex. I'll be here when you land. The permission stung, a reminder of roles. Mentor, not lover, but it freed him. The train to NYC rattled with anticipation, Theo chattering about Suffganiat and coming-out feasts, but Alex's sketchbook filled with vignettes, Jordan's laugh lines, Dad's tentative smiles, a future sketched in bold strokes. The Seder was magic, lax sizzling, questions flying like sparks, Theo's aunt weaving tales of trans elders and ancient texts. Alex shared his story, voice steady under candlelight. The tables nods a chorus of "We see you." But midway, his phone buzzed. "Jordan, miss your chaos." Dad says hi. Burnt the turkey, as expected. Laughter bubbled, but so did tears, homesickness sharpening to longing. Back in Providence, finals loomed like avalanches. Alex burying in studio hours, clay yielding under his hands to forms that screamed release. Abstract lovers entwined in thorns, redeemed by light. A critique session brought praise, professor murmuring, "There's pain here, but power too. Lean in." Winter break descended, plane touching Seattle's tarmac like homecoming. Dad waited at baggage, broader in the shoulders but softer in the eyes, drive filled with updates. The center's new mural, Jordan's promotion to supervisor. Dinner was a feast, non-burnt this time, with Mia crashing for pie and gossip. "Spill on East Coast boys," she teased, but Alex deflected, heart tugging toward the real pull. Jordan arrived late, bearing eggnog and a wrapped canvas. Alex's rally portrait, Jordan's face fierce amid the fray. "For your wall," he said, unwrap awkward in the lamplight. Their hug lingered, scents of pine and coffee mingling, words unspoken hanging thick. Holiday lights twinkled as they walked off dinner, snow dusting parks like confection. "How's it feel, flying solo?" Jordan asked, breath clouds in the cold. Alex shrugged, vulnerability cracking. "Lonely sometimes. Like I'm chasing shadows of what we had." Jordan stopped, street lamp haloing his face. "What we had. It's evolving, Alex. Not ending." The admission hovered, a bridge over chasms, and in that moment, Alex saw it. Not romance's rush, but love's quiet evolution. Familial, fierce, freeing. They parted with a fist bump, but the journal entry that night poured forth. "Voices recognize us when we forget ourselves. Grateful for the echo." Spring semester roared in, Alex diving deeper, collaborations with Theo birthing installations that blurred identity's edges, mirrors shattering into prisms of self. A gallery show beckoned, nerves jangling as he shipped pieces home for a Seattle pop-up. Jordan coordinated, Dad hauling frames, Mia hyping on socials. Opening night hummed, crowd murmuring over echoes in the line. Alex's series of dispatch-inspired abstracts. Tangled wires resolving to rainbows. Jordan lingered by one, eyes tracing the familiar cadence. "This is us," he whispered, pride swelling. A collector approached, offer gleaming, but Alex's eyes sought approval from the man who'd answered his darkest call. Success rippled, scholarships whispered, but conflict brewed subtle. Theo's crushed confession over late-night ramen. "I like you, Alex. Like, really." The words flattered, Theo's easy charm a contrast to Jamie's storms, but Alex's heart balked, memories of Jordan's steadiness anchoring him. "You're amazing," he said gently, "but my head's elsewhere." Theo nodded, friendship intact, but the rejection stirred self-doubt. Was he doomed to pine for unavailable loves? Calls home grew frequent, Jordan's voice a touchstone amid critiques and crushes. "You're blooming, kid. Own it." Summer internship at a Providence queer arts nonprofit sealed his path, days mentoring teens who echoed his younger self, timid sketches blooming bold. Letters from Seattle piled, Dad's, weather's crap, miss your nagging, Jordan's clippings of local pride wins. A surprise visit crystallized it, Jordan flying east, claiming training seminar, but really to roam galleries, beers in hand. "Proud doesn't cover it," he said over skyline views, city lights winking like conspirators. They talked futures, Jordan eyeing advocacy, Alex dreaming galleries. No lines crossed, just depths plumbed, bonds burnished. Fall senior year dawned golden, thesis looming, a multimedia epic on unrecognized voices, inspired by that fateful call. Defenses passed in a haze of applause, diploma heavy in hand. Graduation weekend blurred family and friends. Dad toasting with uncharacteristic eloquence. Mia live-streaming cheers. Jordan's hug longest, whispering, "You did it, the hard way." The after-party pulsed, dances wild, but Alex slipped out to the quad, stars pricking the sky. Jordan joined, silent companion. "What's next?" Jordan asked. Alex grinned, journal clutched. "The world, but with echoes like yours? I'm ready." Years folded like origami. Alex's life a canvas expanding. First job at a Brooklyn gallery curating queer exhibits. Walls alive with stories that mirrored his own. Seattle tugged. Visits home bridging coasts. Dad's garage now hosting art nights for neighborhood kids. His gruff pride a quiet revolution. Jordan climbed ranks. Dispatch chief with a side hustle in youth counseling. His laugh lines deepening like beloved rivers. Their correspondence evolved. Letters interspersed with calls. Jordan's script steady. Alex's doodles framing words. "Remember the knife? It led here. Grateful." A gallery opening in Seattle pulled Alex west. Resonant frequencies. Pieces evoking emergency lines as lifelines. Wires coiling into embraces. Jordan attended, suit crisp, eyes soft. Post-show dinner at their old Thai spot crackled with catch-up. Jordan's new beau, a barista named Kai with tattoos and a poet's soul. Alex is on again with an animator named Riley, sparks flying over storyboards. To complications, they toasted, clinking glasses, the ease of survivors who'd weathered storms together. But beneath, a current hummed. Unspoken what-ifs laid to rest, transmuted to something purer. Conflict stirred when Alex's exhibit toured, landing in a conservative Midwest town where backlash brewed. Protests marred the opening, pickets chanting slurs, a brick through the window shattering glass and illusions of progress. News hit national wires, Alex's face in headlines. Queer artist targeted. Calls flooded, support from allies, venom from trolls. But Jordan's was first, voice steel, flying out. "You're not facing this alone." Dad followed, wrench in hand for metaphorical fixes. The repair was communal, locals rallying, artists boarding windows with murals of defiance. In the chaos, Alex found clarity, his work not just art but armor. Jordan stayed through the storm, bunking on Alex's couch, late nights dissecting the hate. "It's the same old script," Jordan said, bandaging a cut from debris. "But we're rewriting the ending." Kai joined via video, his comma counterpoint, and Riley texted encouragements from afar. The incident forged Alex stronger, exhibit sales soaring, invitations pouring. Back in Brooklyn, he proposed to Riley under the bridge, rings simple as their love, steady, shared. Jordan officiated, voice catching on vows, Dad's toast tearful, to voices that save. Life's twists came gentle after. Riley's animation studio booming, Alex consulting for museums, Jordan and Kai adopting a foster kid, a trans teen with sketches sharp as knives. Visits wove tight. Holidays in Seattle, summers in upstate cabins, stories stacking like bricks in a chosen home. Alex's book emerged, lines that bind, memoirs laced with art, bestseller in queer circles. Dedication to the voice that answered and the boy who called. Decades later, gray threading temples. Alex keynote at a national conference, stage lights warm on wrinkles earned. Jordan sat front row, Kai beside, their kid now a budding director. Dad, frilier but fierce, clapped loudest. The speech wove their tale. No melodrama, just truth. Love as recognition, across lines of time and trial. Q&A turned personal, a young dispatcher asking, "How do you know when to answer?" Alex smiled, eyes on Jordan. "You listen, and you never hang up." The applause faded to afterglow. Hugs exchanged, plans for dinner. Outside, city hum unchanged, but their world fuller, echoes resonating, stories unending. In the end, the call hadn't just saved a life. It had scripted one, rich with the loves that endure. Wait, hold on. This story's heart beats in the quiet moments. The ones where prejudice doesn't roar but whispers, eroding like Seattle's relentless drizzle. Let's rewind, deepen the veins. After the rally's dust settled, Alex's bruises faded, but the emotional contusions lingered, coloring every interaction with a violet hue of caution. Therapy with Lena evolved into group sessions at the center, circles of folding chairs where queer youth spilled secrets like ink blots. Trans kids navigating binders and bathrooms. By teens wrestling invisibility. Alex anchoring with his artist's eye, sketching metaphors on napkins to make pain palatable. Jordan's jaw healed crooked, a badge of honor he joked about, but nights alone in his apartment, ice packed to face, the mirror reflected failures, the brother he'd lost, the kids he'd left. Volunteering recommenced haltingly. Afternoons teaching dispatch for dummies, role plays where teens practiced calm in crises. Jordan's voice a model of measured might. Alex joined, their tandem a seamless duet, but off hours tension simmered. A group hike to Rattlesnake Ledge turned confessional, trail steep as emotions. I almost called Jamie that night, Alex admitted, boots crunching gravel. After the fight with you. Jordan paused, vista sprawling below. Would have been easy, but easy isn't us. The admission cracked open floodgates. Alex unpacking the breakup's debris, Jamie's charm masking cowardice, the way fear had curdled their love into something toxic. He made me feel like a phase, Alex said, voice wind-whipped. Jordan nodded, sharing his own wreckage, the ex-cop's ghost, ultimatums from family that echoed his father's disapproval. Love shouldn't demand you shrink. The words bonded them, summit views mirroring clarity, but dissent brought reality. Mia's birthday bash, Jamie crashing with feigned remorse. Alex, wait, he started, eyes puppy-wide, but Alex sidestepped, Jordan's presence a silent shield. The night ended in laughter over karaoke butchery, but Jamie's shadow clung, a reminder of vulnerabilities exploited. School years in brought prom, Alex's first as out and unapologetic. Tux rented, corsage for Mia as platonic date. Jordan drove, Ty askew, Dad snapping photos with unpracticed grin. The gym glittered, balloons bobbing like hopeful hearts, but undercurrents swirled. Whispers from jocks, a teacher's awkward date. Alex danced through, Mia twirling him into spins, but eyes sought the door. Jordan waiting outside, engine idling. Post-prom diner run, pancakes steaming, Dad regaling with his own prom flop, the table a bubble of normalcy. You're brave, kid, Dad said, syrup sticky fork paused. Braver than me. Summer jobs diverged paths. Alex lifeguarding at Green Lake, whistle sharp on sunbaked days. Jordan shifts pulling graveyard, sleep fractured by calls of the desperate. Texts bridged gaps, saved a kitten today. You? Alex replied with pool selfies, freckles blooming. But a midnight dispatch yanked Jordan to Alex's side. A false alarm. Teen prank call traced to the lake's edge, but Jordan arrived to find Alex shaken, a drunk patron hurling slurs at a gay couple nearby. Handled it. Alex lied, but Jordan saw the tremor, pulling him into the truck for drive-through therapy, burgers, and breakdowns. It's okay to need backup, Jordan murmured, dashboard glow soft. College apps loomed, Alex's portfolio a testament, pieces born of pain, like dispatch echo, a sculpture of coiled phone cords resolving to wings. Rejection stung, but Riz's yes was euphoria, shared over video with Jordan's whoop echoing. Packing frenzy ensued, Dad helping fold shirts with grunts of advice, call weekly, and eat greens. Jordan gifted a care package, snacks, socks, a dispatch scanner app for emergencies. Airport farewell tugged heartstrings, Jordan's hug fierce. Fly high, Alex. We'll ground you when needed. Providence's ivy-wrapped streets welcomed, but isolation bit. Dorm quiet on weekends. Theo's chatter a salve, but not substitute. First queer mixer buzzed awkward, flirtations fizzling against Jordan's phantom standard. A homesick call connected. Missed the rain, Alex said. Jordan chuckled. It's pouring here. Kai says hi. He's the one with the poems. The mention introduced ripples, jealousy flickering before curiosity won. Tell me about him. Stories flowed. Kai's quirks painting a picture of Jordan happy, and Alex's relief was genuine, laced with bittersweet. Midterms crushed, all-nighters yielding breakthroughs, thesis sketches of fractured families mending. A package arrived, Dad's jerky, Jordan's mixtape of Seattle indie, notes scrawled, soundtrack for storms. Holiday break healed, snow blanketing reunions. Mia's solstice party glittered, Jordan and Kai arriving hand in hand. The barista's easy smile disarming. Alex vibed, toasting new chapters, but a slow dance with Mia unearthed confessions, crushed on Jordan hard. Thought it was more. She hugged tight. Mentors can feel like that. It's okay. New year dawned resolutions. Alex vowing vulnerability. Jordan committing to therapy for brother's ghost. Spring brought Riley, animator with curls and quick wit, their meet cute at a gallery panel on queer narratives. Coffee turned dates, hands brushing over scripts, Alex's heart thawing. Updates flew to Seattle. He's got this laugh, contagious. Jordan's reply, sounds solid. Bring him home sometime. The invite warmed, family extending. But twists lurked. Riley's ex resurfaced, drama dredging old insecurities. Alex retreating into art. A call to Jordan vented. Am I just chasing echoes? Jordan's pause waited. No, you're building. Let it be messy. The wisdom steadied, and Riley's apology mended, love deepening in the repair. Graduation's cap toss sealed, family flooding campus. Dad beaming, Mia whooping, Jordan and Kai toasting with local IPAs. Riley met the crew, charm winning dad over with animation doodles. Post-ceremony barbecue laughed through tears, Alex's speech simple. To the calls that connect us. Eyes met Jordan's, gratitude infinite. Career's launchpad ignited. Alex's Brooklyn gallery gig a whirlwind of openings and deadlines. Walls curating lives like his own. Trans photographers, lesbian poets, non-binary performers. Riley's studio hummed nearby, collaboration sparking. Animated shorts synced to Alex's soundscapes of dispatch beeps, transmuted to symphonies. Life synced. Apartment a cozy chaos of canvases and storyboards. Weekends wandering Dumbo's streets. Hands linked against autumn chills. Seattle pulls persisted. Holidays a ritual. Dad's turkey improving. Jordan and Kai's home now, with little Sophia, their foster daughter, a whirlwind of braids and questions. Uncle Alex, draw me a dragon, she'd beg, crayons flying. Alex obliged, tails weaving her into the fold. Jordan watching with eyes soft as memory. Kai's poetry nights became tradition, verses probing love's edges. Alex contributing spoken word pieces on recognition's grace. Backlash hit mid-tour. Midwest exhibits vandalism a gut punch. Sinner scrawled in red across echoes. Media frenzy followed. Pundits decrying indoctrination. Supporters rallying with counterart. Jordan flew in, badge granting access to pressers, his presence a bulwark. We've got history, he told reporters, arm around Alex. Dad arrived too, toolbox in tow, patching literal and figurative. Nights in motel rooms, they decompressed. Dad admitting past failings, feared you'd turn out like me. Angry, alone. But you're light. Jordan confessed deeper scars. Brother's suicide note read aloud for first time. Catharsis in the sharing. Resolution came communal. Town hall where artists and allies outnumbered haters. Dialogue sparking unlikely bridges. A protester's son apologizing, eyes wide at Sophia's rainbow flag. Exhibit reopened stronger, sales funding scholarships. Alex's TEDx invite a coda. Hate shouts. Love echoes. Personal arcs intertwined. Riley's proposal under Brooklyn Bridge. Foghorn blessing. Yes whispered with rings exchanged. Wedding blended worlds. Seattle chapel with drag officiant. Vows laced with humor and heart. Jordan best man, toast poignant. Alex taught me answering isn't enough. It's listening. Dad danced with Mia, Sophia flower girl twirling. Years accreted joys. Sophia's adoption finalized. Alex and Riley parenting via mentorship at youth centers. Jordan's book on crisis intervention dedicated to the call that changed everything. Alex's lines that bind launched to acclaim. Tours weaving personal lore with universal truths. Aging graced them. Silver in Alex's beard. Jordan's limp from an old dispatch dash. Dad retired to fishing. Stories his new art. Reunions ritualized. Cabins host to fireside confessions. Love's evolving. Riley's hand steady. Kai's poems gentler. Sophia's films premiering. Legacy bloomed late. Alex's museum wing. Jordan's training program. Dad's garage gallery for local queer artists. At a gala, Alex ribbon cut, Jordan beside. Full circle. The boy who'd called. The man who'd answered. Echoes eternal. Love's line never dropped. But let's peel deeper, for drama thrives in the underbelly, where prejudices fester not in mobs, but in mirrors, self-doubt's quiet siege. Post-grad, Alex's Brooklyn ascent wasn't linear. A gallery critique gutted him, derivative sentimentality. The review sneered, sales slumping, imposter syndrome clawing. Riley's success contrasted, his short fractured frames Oscar buzzed, envy gnawing Alex's edges. Am I enough? He journaled, pages curling like doubts. Seattle visit unspooled it. Jordan spotting the fracture over coffee, talk. Confession poured, fears of fading, love's imbalance. Jordan shared his own chasm. Kai's diagnosis, early lymphoma, treatments taxing their idol. We lean, Alex. That's the trick. The vulnerability bonded, returned to Brooklyn fortified. Alex channeling pain into mirror calls, series of self-portraits shattered and reformed, critical darling. Riley's ex-drama echoed, reconciliation rumors swirling, a joint project forcing proximity. Jealousy flared, arguments echoing Jamie's ghosts. Trust me. Riley pled, but Alex bolted to Jordan, midnight call, doubting everything. Jordan's flight east was impulse, couch crash turning therapy, walks in Prospect Park, dissecting patterns. You're not your fears, Jordan insisted. Resolution, Riley's vow renewal, intimate, ex-exiled. Midwest vandalism layered conflict, not just external hate, but internal. Alex freezing mid-presser, voice failing, PTSD from the bricks crash. Jordan's grounding worked, hand on knee. Breathe, like old times. Dad's arrival added humor. I'll fix that window with rainbow duct tape. Town hall's bridge building tested. Dialogue with the vandal's father. A mechanic like Dad. Admissions of shared fears yielding tentative handshakes. Personal twists deepened. Sophia's coming out as ace at 12. Jordan navigating support with Kai's chemo-weary wisdom. Alex mentored via Zoom. Sketches of identities fluid as clay. Riley's fertility journey surfaced. Surrogacy dreams clashing schedules. Adoptions considered. Families chosen. Alex echoed Jordan's mantra. Books launch birthed its drama. Publisher pushing trauma porn angles. Alex resisting. It's hope, not horror. Jordan's forward anchored. One call, infinite lines. Bestseller status followed authenticity, tours cathartic. Aging's graces held thorns. Jordan's retirement forced by hearing loss. Dispatches toll. Alex's arthritis cramping brushes. Riley adapting tools. Dad's dementia crept. Stories looping, but love constant. Cabin retreats sustained. Sophia's films documenting their saga. Echo lineage. Legacy's capstone. National monument to queer resilience. Alex's design. Sculpted phones linking hands across voids. Unveiling, Jordan spoke. We answered. We endured. Applause swelled. Echoes true. Love's dispatch, forever open.